to join us today can still be accountable to the great learning that's going to take place. I also wanted to just share a very quick 6-minute video. I don't have an update for you with the solo projects because when I went through and did the grading, um, as I was as I was realizing that I had the flu, I thought I just had a sinus allergy infection. I was doing your grading from this last week, and the majority hadn't had their solo work completed yet. So I will go back in these next couple of days. I realized that it wasn't due until last night. So I'll go in within these next couple of days as soon as I'm feeling up to it and get that scoring for you and give you those trends at the top of the next session. But for right now, I do want to share let me see if I can find it now, a quick 6-minute video on what makes a great leader from Harvard Business School. So let me share my screen with you. And hopefully you'll be able to hear it. If you can't hear it, please do let me know right away.
No, I cannot hear.
I'm sorry, can you hear?
No voice.
No voice.
No, we cannot hear.
Why does this always happen to us? Okay. Let me back up then. And what if I try it from this? Actually, let me check my tabs. My microphone is on. Okay, you can see my screen right now, correct?
Yes.
But you could not hear the volume. So let me
Yes, we
check.
didn't hear.
Okay. Can you hear that? Were you able to hear that?
No, I don't.
No.
In my side, no.
Oh, okay. So let me go to my settings real quick.
Professor, it looks like when you share the screen, there is some button that the sound is from the laptop is turned off. When you share, like stop sharing, share once again, and there is some small button.
Okay.
Now I can see the screen, Professor.
Okay, you can see the screen? You shouldn't be able
No,
to see
now,
this.
Professor, only 10.
Okay. All right. So now when I go to share, screen window or tab. Well, let's just share. And it says share tab audio is clicked, so you should be able to hear it. I'm going to try it again, okay? You should be able to hear it this time.
Organizations aren't able to innovate.
Yes?
Yes.
Yay. Okay, thank you so much for bearing with me.
Yes,
We
Professor, I can see.
reasons why organizations aren't able to innovate, organizations aren't as agile as they need to be, is they don't have the kind of leadership they need. If you came to the Harvard Business School 100 years ago, great leadership was really about setting direction and making sure that people went in that direction. How do you come up with strategy? When I came almost 40 years ago, we moved a bit from strategy to really vision. So people like John Cotter and Warren Bennis helped us understand that people needed to have a bigger ambition than just the strategy. What's the vision? Where are we going and why? What I've come to see as I've begun to do research in the 2000s, yes, you still need to be a visionary, but guess what? Because innovation has become ever more important, that means really moving from vision to shaping culture and capabilities. You have to move from focusing on, okay, what's my vision and how do I communicate and get people to follow me to the future. Instead, leading innovation is about getting people to co-create that future with you. And co-creation requires a different kind of leadership. If you want to lead an organization and build an organization that can innovate at scale with speed, really leaders have three functions they have to fulfill. The ABCs of leadership. A, you must be an architect. B, you must be a bridger. And C, you must be a catalyst. The first role is the role of architect, building the culture and capabilities necessary for a group of people to be able to collaborate, experiment, and learn. Innovative work is not about an individual having an aha moment. It's really about a collaboration of individuals with diverse expertise, diverse points of view and experiences who figure out, again, how to collaborate, how to experiment and learn together with some speed, what we called collective genius. The idea here is that everyone in your organization has a slice of genius. Everyone has talents, everyone has passions. Your role as a leader is to unleash the diverse slices of genius in your organization and then leverage and harness them for the collective good. How do you get everyone in the organization to understand that they need to work on not just what they should be doing, but what they could be doing? The second is B, or bridger. We have to go outside the organization to get access to talent and tools. You need to be able to bridge because you do not have the talent and tools you need inside your organization to innovate at speed or at scale. Just don't. Particularly now that digital is such a big piece of it. You and your organizations are really embedded in a web of interdependencies. And that means trying to innovate across boundaries. So we see many organizations building out new units or asking leaders to lead units in which they really are serving as the bridge between the outside of the organization and the inside. We've been studying leaders who run innovation labs, corporate accelerators, even organizations that were digital first are finding that they need to partner with other digital first companies to get access to the cloud. Because other organizations might be better at it than they are better at it, and they need to focus on other things that are their core capabilities. And then the third is catalyst, and this is when you're trying to accelerate co-creation throughout the entire ecosystem. And there can be a couple of reasons for why you want to do that. One may be that for you to do what you want to do inside your organization, you need other people, other organizations to be able to innovate because they got to create something that you need to fulfill your purpose. The other is fundamentally because you're trying to just create more capability in the whole ecosystem, because when you lift the whole, everyone gets lifted, is when your ambition is much, much greater than your organization and you're maybe trying to change a country or the prospects of a whole continent. So you have to get the whole ecosystem, active and co-creating if you want to do that kind of thing. An example would be if you want to be secure yourself in your own internet service, then if you can help your client be more secure, have more cybersecurity, that helps you as well. So that's an instance of being a catalyst. But when you're actually doing the act of working across, that is where you're being a bridger. So these three roles are very interconnected. We've been studying the leader who runs the trials for Pfizer. Turns out that Pfizer can only innovate and be as agile as it needs to be if, in fact, their vendors are agile and able to innovate. So we have leaders there who are working across with vendors and turning those vendors into partners, where, in fact, we have a real connection. We do trust each other. We do know how to influence each other. We are willing to make mutual commitments, because only when we have that deep connection are we willing to do the hard work together necessary to actually do something like run those trials in 266 days and make the impossible possible. Now what you see, again, the catalyst role, that same leader is working to put together consortia of people who are in the pharmaceutical industries to go back and think about what are some new standards we want to set and talk with the regulators about, now that we know what's possible, will allow us to bring hope to patients even faster if we work across the industry to raise all of our capacity to do more innovative work. So what we see is organizations have to go outside to get what they need. what they're really all about is learning how to exercise influence when you don't have formal authority. We got to let go of formal authority as our source of influence and power. Instead, we're using, if you will, being able to shape culture and capabilities, being able to forge connections between diverse parties, connections, real connections, where we actually have mutual trust, mutual influence, and mutual commitment. Don't rely so much on your formal authority as a way of influencing people. It's not very useful, because with formal authority, if you're using that as your source of power, maybe you can control people, but you're not building their commitment. And you need commitment if you want to have people take the risks associated with trying to do something new and useful, particularly a breakthrough kind of innovation. You don't use formal authority as a way to get things done, because you cannot tell people to innovate. You can only invite them. It is a voluntary act.
Okay. So I thought that would set the stage nicely for us today for the work that Alina and Ahmed are going to share with us. And I do appreciate them taking on their leadership responsibilities in a way that half of their team is not present to participate or contribute. So I applaud you for your professionalism, and I look forward to learning from you all today. Olina and Ahmed?
Thank you, Professor. So, thank you for this opportunity. Now I will share my screen. Please inform me whether you can see the screen. Can you see my screen now?
I could see it, and now yes, I can see it.
So let's start. Today's our lecture item is leaders as a catalyst of innovation. And actually, this is your lectures for today, Ahmed and Alina. Actually, these are our avatars that we call. And the lecture structure is divided into 2 chapters. One is responsible, Ahmed, effective leadership and human relations, and my part, the team concept. Today's objectives that we will discuss the principles of effective leadership, high performance workflows, understand the art of active listening, investigate the team concept, go through the elements of high-performing groups, discuss positive and negative group roles, and know what a leader can do to develop the teamwork and the team attitude. So I invite Ahmed for his start, and he can start demonstrating the screen. Ahmed.
Thank you, Alina. Everyone can hear me?
I can hear you.
I can hear
Okay,
you.
great. So, welcome back to a wonderful session. Hopefully, it will be a wonderful session. We did a lot of research, and we did a lot of work in this. Okay, so without any waiting, I'm planning to start today's lecture with a simple question. Okay, what is innovation, and how is it different from creativity? Can anyone share their thoughts?
I can. So I think innovation is something absolutely new, while the creativity it's to find some ways how to, for example, settle down some issues which is existing already.
That's interesting. Thank you, Lizette. Anyone else? No one? maybe everyone is still busy. No issues. Actually, Lizat, it's the opposite. Okay, innovation and creativity, they are both closely related concepts, but they're not the same. In fact, creativity refers to the ability to generate new and original ideas or concepts. So creativity is number one. Okay, while innovation refers to the implementation of those ideas to create value. So, in other words, creativity is the first step in the innovation process, as it is involving coming up with new ideas, original ideas, while innovation is the process of taking those ideas and making them reality. Okay, so you cannot innovate without creativity. Okay, so creativity first, innovation after. Okay, but the innovation also involves more structured process. Okay, it includes research, development, testing, implementation of this creative idea. So, to make it simple, someone will come up with a new idea, and the innovation will take this idea, implement it, or modify it, or update it to get the most greater value. That's why when there is brainstorming meetings, okay, yeah, ideas come up, then they agree on a certain idea, then they start in this meeting to, develop this idea, use it as a base and build on it. Okay, so we will go for the next. Our next one is, it's very simple. These are rubber bands. Okay, but how can we use a rubber band in an innovative way? So the creativity was creating the rubber band, but the innovative will be how do we use it? So can someone share their experience, like they used a rubber band in an innovative way? You can see my screen, right?
Yes, we can see.
Okay. Come on. Anyone? Rubber band? You never used it in a creative way before? That's
We can use as a line if we make a sequence one after another. Yeah, we usually play when we were a child or a childhood. Yes.
like to make sounds, right? Din, din, din. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that. So thank you, Chan. Anyone else, please? Come on, it's just.
Ahmed, there are replies in the chat box.
Oh, I didn't see my
Yes.
chat box.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, like a bracelet. Yes.
1 minute. Is the slingshot? Excellent, excellent. Yes, I did it before. And oh, definitely Nuran. My daughter has something like that. And thank you. I didn't see my chat. Thank you for your reply for the innovation part. Okay. I remember, Ezgi, I did the slingshot when I was at school. I used to hold it between my fingers and then use a paper and, stick a small paper in the back of the one in front of me. So anyone else? Professor, do you have any creative thoughts or
Well,
innovation thoughts?
yeah, it was making me think of the Embrace the Tremble, the artist that we saw a couple weeks back who was using different things to create art and how you could create art with the rubber bands, right?
Yes, I remember Embracing the Shake.
Yes, embracing the shake.
By the way, I remember I used it to open a very tough jar. When you put it on the lid You put some rubber bands on the lid and you try to open it. It doesn't make your hand slip. You know, it does stop the slippery part.
Oh, good to know. That is innovative.
Okay. So in order for innovation to grow, it needs some requirements. It needs the leaders to be so in order to the leaders to be a catalyst for innovation, the leaders need to create an environment that fosters creativity, experimentation, and collaboration within the team. Okay, the leader should provide the necessary resources and support to enable innovation to thrive and cultivate a culture of continuous learning and improvement. So there is a huge requirements from the leaders. Part of those requirements, the leaders should have a vision and strategic thinking. We will go through the steps one by one. The leader should have a creativity and open mind. The leaders should have empathy and collaboration. Also, they should be resourcefulness and resilient. And they should also support continuous learning. And definitely, the strong communication skills is a must. Okay, so we will go through each point, and I have arranged for a sample of a leader who has exceeded in each point. So, for our first point, vision and strategic. Okay, the leader should have a clear and compelling vision for the organization future and a long-term strategy to achieve it. So this also includes identifying potential opportunities for innovation and setting clear objectives for innovation initiatives. And definitely, our example here was named by Fortune as the CEO of the decade. This is the well-known Steve Jobs. Anyone has a comment? No, no issues. Steve Jobs had embraced 15 principles. I'm not going to throw the 15, of course, but I have choose some of them of those principles which I find very iconic. Okay, he embraced the focus. Okay, we need to decide. We need to focus on what we are doing, but also we need to decide what not to be done. Okay, so we have our eyes on the prize, on the end picture, but we should also be aware of whatever can delay us and not to do it. Okay, he also one of his principles was simplifying. Okay, eliminate unnecessary components. If the project doesn't need a certain element, then we don't need it. If the work can be done without this element, okay, then make it simple. Okay, ownership. Okay, in this principle, ownership, he's saying taking responsibility for the whole project end to end. Okay. Also, one of the principles was prioritize. Make the right products, and profits will follow. So you put your priority. You make your product as your priority. You perfect it. Okay. Then when this product, when it goes to the public, the profits will follow. So don't, don't focus on many things. Okay, and also when you are doing the product, make it perfect. Perfect is one of his principles. Okay, he said use good wood even if it doesn't show. So it does it. So in his words, or what this meaning is, if you have a product and there is a certain part of it which is not showing to the public, no one will see it. No one will go inside the cables of the fridge or the cables of the TV and see how is it made or what is it made of. Make it the perfect. Make it good outside, inside. Okay. The next point is creativity and open-mindedness. We need to think out of the box, as the picture is saying. So, in creativity and open-mindedness, leaders should have the ability to think creatively, generate new ideas, and be open to new perspectives. So it is not my way or the highway. They have to be open. Okay, they have to be open to the new ways of doing things, to the perspectives of others. The leaders should be willing to take risks and embrace change. Our example for this point would be Sheryl Sandberg. I'm not in my examples for the leaders. I'm not taking all as well known as Steve Jobs. Some people I didn't know about until I made my research. Okay, Sheryl Sandberg was the COO of Facebook. Okay, during her tenure as a CEO of Facebook, okay, she championed innovation and new ideas and encouraged the company, okay, to experiment with new products and features. Two of the things that she attributed her success to, like two things she said those were the source of her success. Okay, was encouraging feedback for colleagues at all levels of the level of the business, and acknowledging the power of peers as mentors. Some of her quotes was endless data shows that diverse teams make better decisions. We are building products that people will with very diverse backgrounds use, and I think we all want our company makeup to reflect the makeup of the people who use our products. That's not true of any industry really, and we have a long way to go. That was her quote. That was exactly what she said. It's a long one, but I like that they want to work with keeping the customers in mind. They are making a product that the people will use. So they have to customize this product to the people. Okay. And she has one great question. And I'm asking everyone this question. She said, what would you do if you were not afraid? So, what would you do if you are not afraid? Anyone? Anyone has a thought, an idea, a dream? Am I going fast, or I need to slow down, or I'm okay?
No, I think you're going at a great rate. So Ahmed, as you were speaking of Cheryl, and the open-mindedness, I was thinking about some collaborations that I've been doing lately with um, Anna Bierman with the Failure Lab. And, we always talk about learning from our mistakes, but it's what do we do with that when we fail? How do we tend to fail? How do we tend to use that failure? And so you're reminding me here with that concept of open-mindedness, because that's one of the key factors in, if you will, successfully failing. learning from your mistakes, making something even greater through that creative process and not letting it be a hindrance. And so I think that Cheryl is a good example of that with her work in Facebook, but also, as you said, with her value of bringing in other perspectives. Mentoring and feedback, I think, is really important because we're all going to fail if we're giving it our best, if we're being creative and looking for innovation. There's going to be times that we fail, and so what do we do with that? If we have an open mind, we can actually find something even greater from that failure than we would have had we succeeded. So this is a
Absolutely.
really
I
Yeah.
totally agree with you, Professor. Okay, I had it even in with one of my previous managers. Okay, with every mistake, he takes it as a learning. He takes it. He used the mistake to improve. So always after the mistake, there is improvement. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much, Professor. But again, I'm still saying or asking the same questions that she asked. Okay, and I hope really that my dear team, my dear colleagues, answer this. What would you do if you are not afraid? What would you achieve if you are not afraid?
I would go and to learn to be pilot. Really.
Excellent, excellent. But why you are afraid of doing this?
Because I feel always myself sick when I'm flying, so I'm not sure that I can do it on a daily basis. So it's from my health perspective.
So
I think I
it's a
cannot do
dream.
it.
Okay, but I
Yes,
believe
it's
that
just a dream.
this dream can come true. Really, there are some private lessons, some private small airplanes.
Yes,
So
yes.
I
When I
hope
will
I
earn
hope
so much money as I need, I definitely will just learn for myself because it costs too much. It's very expensive hobby, let's
so.
say.
I wish for you one day you will learn it.
Thank you very much. I hope also.
Anyone? Anyone else? Thank you, Lizette. Anyone else? What would you do if you are not afraid? Okay. So our next point is empathy and collaboration. Okay, and you see how this gentleman is showing great empathy for anyone complaining. Okay, so for empathy and collaboration, leaders should have strong interpersonal skills, including empathy, active listening, and the ability to collaborate with others. Okay, leaders should create a culture of trust and respect, where team members feel comfortable sharing their ideas and working together toward a common goal. Okay, our example leader for this point is Mr. Satya Nadella. Okay, Satya Nadella, he is the CEO of Microsoft. Okay, uh, he has emphasized the importance of empathy in the workplace and has worked to create a more collaborative and inclusive culture at the company. Okay, Nadella has demonstrated strong empathy and collaboration skills by prioritizing teamwork, inclusivity, and engagement with stakeholders during his leadership of Microsoft. Okay, uh, I didn't know about him. I didn't know about uh, the CEO of Microsoft. To be honest, we all know about Bill Gates, right? So knowing this man during my research is really nice. The next point is to be resourcefulness and resilience. Okay, as per the, oh, that was fast. As per the picture saying, okay, resourceful means you can get the job done without any resources. Okay, of course not, but it was a funny picture for me. I hope it is for you. For leaders should be resourceful and adaptable, able to work within constraints and find innovative solutions to challenges. They should also be resilient in the face of setbacks and failures, and able to learn from mistakes. Okay, so yes, I agree, Professor Anne, for what you said last thing. Okay, we learn from mistakes. Okay, and we should come with new ideas or improvements. An example of a leader with resourcefulness and resilience would be definitely Jeff Bezos. Okay, he has taken risks and pursued innovation in his leadership of Amazon, even in face of setbacks and challenges. We all know that Amazon was started in, as what I have seen, in a garage. Okay, and a garage, it's not a big start. Okay, but with his resourcefulness and resilience, Jeff Bezos made it from garage to Amazon right now, which I believe everyone has something from Amazon in his house. One of his quotes was, we innovate by starting with the customer and working backwards. Okay, that becomes the touchstone for how we invent. That was one of his quotes. The other one was, failure and invention are inseparable twins. To invent, you have to experiment. And if you know in advance that it is going to work, it's not an experiment. You are, what I understood from this quote, what he said, okay, you cannot say I'm experiment a new solution which was already tested before, and you know already that there is a good outcome of the solution. Okay, if you are experimenting, okay, it is a 50-50 winning or lose. Our next point is continuous learning. Okay, after they invented the wheel, okay, they need to invent the brakes. Leaders should be committed to continuous learning and improvement. Okay, they should stay up to date with the latest trends and technologies, and seek out new knowledge and skills to support innovation. What do you say, guys, about the continuous learning? Anyone has a point about this? Hello?
If you will not be updated, then this will will kill you. So it's like in the life, if you will not get new knowledge, if you will not stay updated with the world, so you will be outside of the all processes. What we are doing right now, for instance, we all of us is
Absolutely correct.
trying to, yes, to continue our learning.
Absolutely correct. Lizette, you are the star of the show today. Thank you. Okay, but
Not
guys,
at all.
definitely.
You're welcome.
Yes, Olena, please go ahead.
Yes, if you don't mind, I want to also share my idea that I always tell like that. Maybe all of you have seen the movie of Terminator. And I always say I don't want to be old Terminator. I want to be modern one. So that's why I all the time study and move on.
That's nice. That's nice. Thank you. Anyone else? Team? No issues. Okay. So my example leader for this point, for the continuous learning, would be, I don't know if anyone knows it, but she is Mary Barra. She is the CEO of General Motors. Okay. And for who doesn't know about General Motors, it is one of the biggest companies in the world for cars, trucks, and engines. Okay. Like definitely you have GSM cars in your country. Mary Barra has emphasized the importance of continuous learning and has implemented programs to encourage employees to develop new skills and knowledge. Okay. Excuse me. One of her quotes was on the autopilot. One of her quotes on the autopilot bailout and transition. Okay, what she said is the biggest lesson I learned, and I take it to everything I tackle now, large or small, inside of work or outside. If you have a problem, you have got to solve it, because that problem is going to get bigger in 6 months. Okay, it could get bigger in 2 years, but it's not going to get smaller with time. Okay, any problem, if you leave it unsolved due to any reason, you don't know how to solve it, you don't have time to solve it now, okay, any problem will become bigger. It never becomes smaller. Okay, if you have a problem, you have got to solve it, and the sooner the better. Okay. Uh, One of her quotes on being results oriented, okay, she said, I'm reminded of a plant manager who asked his lead engineer to explain her hiring process. So a manager is asking the lead engineer to explain the hiring process. The lead engineer said, well, we fill a bathtub with water and we offer the applicant a teaspoon, a teacup, or a bucket. Okay, then we ask him or her to empty the tub. Okay, I think I have seen this one before. Uh, the manager said, I get it. Okay, the chosen one or the chosen applicant would use the bucket because it is faster. Okay, the engineer said, no, the chosen one will pull the drain plug. Anyone heard about this story before?
Yes, that is a very good one.
Actually, I heard it in a different concept. Okay, it was in a mental house. Okay, and the new manager is asking the doctor, how do you say if the patient is crazy or not? Okay, but it was really interesting. Okay, so the final point was would be strong communication skills. Okay. Uh, Albert Einstein said, if you can't explain something simply, you don't understand it well enough. Okay, that was the said of Albert Einstein, which Elon Musk said it after. Actually, when I was searching for quotes about this uh, this sentence came under Elon Musk, but I remember I heard it from Albert Einstein. Leaders should be skilled communicators. Okay, able to clearly articulate their vision. They should be able to make their vision reach others. Okay, and to clearly explain their strategy. Okay, they should be they should effectively communicate with team members, stakeholders, and customers. Basically, communication is a fundamental skill. It's nothing. You cannot say I don't communicate with others. Okay. Our leaders for this would be Indra Nooyi. She is the former CEO of Pepsi company. Okay. She was known for her ability to communicate her vision and strategy to employees, shareholders, and customers, and to build strong relationships with stakeholders. Okay. In my research, I found that Indra Nooyi, she was at the beginning very unpopular in the company. Okay, they didn't believe her ideas or concepts. But later, she took the revenues from 37 billion to 63 billion. Okay, one of her best quotes is, you cannot overinvest in communication. Sorry, you cannot overinvest in communication skills, written and oral communication skills, whatever. You cannot, there is nothing called overinvestment. You cannot say that I have arranged for many webinars or trainings for my employees in about communication. Okay, there is no overinvestment in that. So I am done with my with these points. Anyone has a comment, something to say? I know it is Monday, but some of you I think it's off. I think it is off day in USA, right? Or is it the beginning of the week, Professor?
It's the beginning of the week here, but
So definitely everyone is busy.
yeah, well, this is the interaction is like hard to get people in this
Indeed,
class
indeed.
engaged. Yes.
Now I know your feeling.
Thank you. Not that I want you to have that feeling, but thank you. I
Yes.
really appreciate the approach that you took with this content because
No,
it
I'm
could
not
have
finished yet.
quite drab. Oh no, I know you're not finished, but so far, like I love your sense of
Yeah.
humor and the incorporation of the comics. So thank you.
Thank you,
I am
Professor.
enjoying it very
Well,
much.
it is a tough crowd, but
Yeah.
hopefully the coming media will be good. Okay.
Okay.
I really hope that.
Okay, here we go.
So our leadership lessons from movies. Okay. The good thing about movies, it has messages. Either we pay attention to it or not. Okay. This coming scene or video clip from a movie I have seen, I can say 10 more than 10 times. I love it. And I don't, I always, when it comes to on TV, I always see it. Okay. Sometimes when I feel depressed or having, want something to motivate me, I see it. So let's go to it. Okay. I'll stop sharing and share again. Okay. Anyone see my screen?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yes.
Now we can see.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. I miss you, Nuran. Really?
Thank you. I'm just at work still, so
Yes.
I don't have an
I
option
understand.
except replying via chat. Yes. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Thank you. Okay, let's see and have a small discussion after that. Okay. Tell me, give me a thumbs up or a comment or even jump in if you don't hear.
The wall, the mosque, the sepulchre. Who has claim?
Bir dakika.
No
bir şey
one has
Canım
claim.
başka işim var benim. İstiyorsan aç YouTube.
All have claim.
Any issues? You don't hear?
We
We
can.
can hear you.
Yes,
we
yes,
can. We
It's
can
clear
hear.
in my side.
Okay.
yes.
Okay, great. So, what do you think? Hello?
Servant leader. Yes.
Yes, yes, servant leader. Okay. What qualities he showed? What? What qualities he showed as a leader? Thank you, Samia. Anyone?
Well, he certainly had
Professor,
vision.
if you are talking,
Oh,
yes.
yes, yes, he certainly had vision, and he was resourceful in naming someone, you know, like he was a problem solver because they said that you know, well, we have no knights. Well, now we have a land full of them, right? Like, so very resourceful, very visionary, strategic thinking, minded.
Correct. Really, when I saw this, thank you, Professor, for sharing your thoughts. Anyone else want to share their thoughts, please? Go ahead. It's a nice movie. It's called Kingdom of Heaven. Anyone saw it? Anyone didn't see it first time? Just raise up hands. If you saw it, raise your hand.
Honestly, I didn't see yet, but because of you, I will.
I will
Yes.
share with you the link.
Same here. Yes, I have it on my list now.
Yes. Well, that's tough crowd. Yes, indeed. I hope everyone at least enjoying with the session today. Okay, as the professor said, the leader here is very, you know, he had the vision, he had the strategy. Okay, he shifted the thinking of the people. Okay, from protecting city, protecting walls to protect the people, because the people are the city. Okay. He was challenged that there are no knights. Okay, as the professor said, okay, he was resourcefulness. He took everyone who can carry a weapon, who can defend, and upgraded them to be a knight. That a knight is the elite power of the army. Okay, so everyone, despite the priest, became a knight. Okay, even when he was telling the oath, okay, the knight's oath, okay, these are very strong words. He encouraged them, he motivated them. Okay, so I really loved this this scene. Now we will go for the opposite. We will go for a totally different what do you call a totally different leader. Okay, from movies also. So you're still seeing screen.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes,
Okay.
we can see.
Uh,
Yes, it's clear.
okay.
Yes, but
Mr.
now
Muhammad, how are you? Hello, Mr. Muhammad. He's busy. Okay, so let's start seeing.
The most fun.
So, what do you think of that? Is this leadership or the opposite
It's
of leadership?
it's all on more on races.
Exactly. Thank you, Jadlin. So, he is not a leader. The leader should support. Okay. The leader should show empathy. Okay. So basically, he listed some points on the board that yes, no one will make much of it, but they can make fun of anything. There is no support in this. Any comments? Indeed, yes. Indeed, Noran. Yes, you're correct. But I thought it is really not applicable here. But I mean, to show the what not a leader can be. Like, for example, our professor, when she is pushing us, pushing us, pushing us. Yeah, that's not a leader, professor.
Yeah. So, what's interesting when people bring up The Office, because it's so popular not only in America, but you know, the original version of The Office was in the United Kingdom. Are you aware of that? There's a
To be
whole
honest, I didn't see The Office, but I'm planning to see it.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'm not saying that you should waste your brain cells on it. I'm definitely not saying that. But but the original take of it was in the UK with completely different cast. And it's so interesting. If you ever do get a chance to watch it, I would watch it in comparison, because the difference of the humor, and it is actually quite clever the way they model how not to be in a work setting, or how not to be a leader, in both scenarios, even though they pick up on different cultural relevancies within the areas that each were filmed. So yeah, definitely the perfect non-example of leadership.
Thank you so much, Professor. And by the way, you are a great leader. I'm just teasing. That's all.
No, that's fine.
Okay, gentlemen. This is the end of my presentation, but I have a question. You hear me, you want to share, you hear me, you want to think about it later. Okay. What do you need to develop to be a leader? What are you missing? What qualities you need to develop more? Okay. This is just a question. Feel free if you want to answer. Okay. If you have a clear idea about yourself, okay, please share it with us. Okay. If you want to think about it later, keep it here, no issues. Okay. And thank you all. I leave the stage now for my dear colleague Olena. Please go ahead. Any questions before we go? Sorry. No questions. Okay,
No.
Olena.
Thank you. Thank you, Ahmed.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all. Do you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Ahmed, very much for your patience, for your contribution. I'm very thankful to have such great partner as you. So let's proceed. I have the topic of the team concept. And let's start and dig inside how actually it was developed and the idea of working in collaboration. So as can we see in this visualization that people are making puzzles, so they actually have their own common goal in it and they achieve the result. So throughout the history, the concept was involved because of the group collaboration toward the result. And let's have a look on the studies, how scientists identify this. We can see here two models. Actually, 1 century ago, already the scientists were interested in collaboration in people working in groups. So from Alton Mayer, Australian scientists, we can have now we can see their experiments that they were made at electric factory that it was very interesting to him, to his colleagues, to investigate how the relationship between co-workers influence on their productivity and workplace. And also they made a conclusion that it is very important to interact and communicate to achieve the success. According to now, and nowadays, scientists, American scientists, geographers, Jerry Diamond also investigated it, and he also made a conclusion now that the development of cooperation is very high important to achieve goals, and pointed out the importance of communication and sharing information. So let's have a look on the history review. From the
Yeah,
last
please.
century, yes.
Can you go for the previous screen?
Sorry, you cannot see the screen?
Yes, this screen. When you are saying about social factors and productivity in workplace, okay, so
Yes.
social factors like people or labors from the certain uh, age, certain type, like female, males, certain age as 30s, 40s, okay? Is this correct?
No, that means that social factor, that means the environment of people, where they work, how what conditions do they have, and how attention do they have towards the groups. This is exactly the meaning of that particular experiment.
Okay. Okay.
Does it clear? Do anyone have questions?
I'm clear from my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for the question raised. So I will move forward. So let's have a look on the history review. Actually, it's very interesting that 1 century ago, it's already began to interesting to scientists, and they investigated a formal study of groups even in 1920s, 30s. Then 40s, 50s, it was interesting to focus on sensitivity training and T groups. That means that...
Can you share the next slide, please? Polina, can
uh,
you share the next slide?
You cannot see the slide? Can you see?
I think this is the old slide, the previous one. Now it's okay.
Yes, now we're at the slide. You had gone back when you answered Ahmed, and then you didn't go back forward. So now we're on the correct slide.
Oh,
Thank
sorry, because sorry, because I saw it. Thank you. I will
No
understand that now. Okay. So Here you can see now that within 40s, 50s, we had already the focus on sensitivity trainings and T groups. Mostly they were made to,
Now it's clear.
Sorry?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Is it
No,
okay?
now it's clear. Okay. Yeah, we can hear you. Yes, you can continue. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. So I will proceed that these trainings were allocated to identify the soft skills of their workers at work. It was so it's era of identifying what people can do except their like hard skills. In 1960s, it was already interesting to identify the leadership effectiveness within groups. 70s and 80s, it's already about their participation in management when their leaders already started to involve their co-workers in taking decisions. Then 90s and sorry, can you see my screen now? The focus on
Yes.
high performance and especially on the service and the products quality. And now we can see that it's very, very popular and constant developing the team concept at modern corporations. So let's have a look. Which are these corporations? Google, Cisco, Amazon, Toyota, Microsoft, Procter and Gamble. I have a question to you. Perhaps you can mention other corporations who work with team groups and groups in general. Perhaps do you have experience in working in groups? May I raise a question to you? Any of you?
I would go.
It looks you will?
I would go. I will go as to answer for this. Like in a previous semester, we talked about IBM, the company IBM. They had
Yes.
groups working on projects, and everyone was like collaborating, and they were from different backgrounds and different what can I say specialities. Okay. Also, I worked in a team member as a team member. Okay, in a group, and our manager was like defining the work as per our strengths points. Okay. He saw this manager saw that one of my friends, he is like very popular. He likes to speak with people. Okay, so the manager gave my colleague the responsibilities of public relation. Okay. I was good in technology, in spreadsheets, Excel. So I was handling the data. So this is like working in a team. Of course, the flow of communication is a must.
Yeah, thank you very much for your sharing and your ideas. I completely agree that the collaboration, and we will talk about later on that the importance of it. So next slide, actually, I want to share with you the video. In my opinion, it's the best one to share the evidence and how it influence on the best way influence the teamwork and collaboration. One second, I will share the screen. I will check it. Yes. Can you see my screen now? Can you hear the
Yes.
sound?
Yes.
Yes.
Well done.
So great. Thank you. Now we will see the idea of team concept, one of the clinic. I specifically have chosen exactly the medicine because, as we have told beforehand, that it is very important to achieve common goal. If you talk about corporation, mostly we talk about the value of money, of um, growth. Here we talk about people. So let's and the people health. Let's have a look on the video.
At Origins Counseling, we actually work in a team concept. And the team concept to me is actually very important just based on the fact that we have multiple eyes on the patient. We do assign the therapist a caseload, but we have what is called team staffing, and we actually talk about each case. We talk about their progression in treatment. We talk about what's going on with the family. We actually talk about treatment planning. We talk about the case management and their 12-step progression if they are in our substance use disorder IOP. And to me, perception is very important because you may have a therapist that has one perception and is seeing a behavior in one area, and then you may have another therapist that sees it totally different. And the patient may show up totally different just based on who they are showing up with because they can act differently in front of different people. And bringing all this information together as a team and talking about the different aspects or the different symptomologies that are showing up or behaviors that are showing up, we can actually create a treatment plan or our next intervention to help them to progress or to help them with something that's going on with them. Because I may have a totally different view of what's happening with somebody versus a primary therapist, and what their perception is can be totally different. Having that treatment team is very important. Everybody plays a vital role in a treatment team, regardless if you're an RA or a recovery coach or the clinical director or a therapist or somebody that is volunteering. Everybody is vital to the system and actually helping the patient to progress and to actually get healthier.
So may I raise a question? What can you share your thoughts about the video and about the team concept? What is the value of team concept? Anyone has idea? I can share why I have what I have seen from this and can share the insight. Mostly because of their idea of perception in teamwork. What does it mean? We human beings, we can see the same things absolutely different because we can see from different angles. We can understand the same things from different sides, and it can be because of our identity, our traits, our education. So it's very valuable when you work in teams because I will share later on that I work in teams. And
I think
yes,
I think it's also valuable because everybody can, everyone can has different experience and different knowledge. So all of them, team members, can complete each other, and in the end, to give better care to their patients. So what cannot do one person in the team, they can give more valuable solutions and the more how to say, more wide ways to solve the problems.
yeah, exactly. There, I would say, is a broader expertise. even in my work, from my experience, when I for instance, I create dashboards or any kind of reports, I always ask my colleagues, please have a look. Even I've done it in a standard way, I ask to have a look. Maybe some of them will see something different than I see. So this is, in my opinion, this is a key. So I will
From
come
the
back to,
video,
yeah.
I like the one concept that everyone matters, every role matters. It doesn't, it doesn't put the importance or encourage the importance of a certain role. Everyone who is involved is does matter. Their effort matters from the manager up to the volunteer. So
Yeah,
really, I like this. I like this.
so okay, before moving forward, may I ask you once again, can you raise a hand who used to work in groups or currently work in groups, just for me to have an idea and to understand? Lazad, Professor Ahmed, so thank you, thank you. So I will now share my experience. Currently, I've already told a
Alina,
couple of
share again
times
your
that
screen.
yes, I'm doing it.
Yes, now I see it.
Yeah, you can see. Thanks. Great. So now I'm showing you actually the concept of a company where I do work now. I work at a consulting company, and there are roles at our company. So as you can see, we don't have organizational chart at all. We have CEO, he's a founder of the company, operations manager, a sales manager, and consultants. I'm here. There are consultants have different expertise. In our projects, we have specific roles, 5 of them. Each consultant can receive a specific expertise in each of this role and can participate in it accordingly. For instance, I have 3 roles for now, and it's up to me whether I want to develop either node in others. So project manager, he's responsible for the timeline, for the communication between the team and the client. Ideologies, this is my favorite one. This is like brain of the project. He develops the processes and gives it to execution team. Hacker, it's our IT guy. Mentor, it's our responsible for education, the customer and the customer team. And data analyst, this is a person who's responsible for dashboards and for all the information. So from this prospect, whenever we have a project, sometimes we combine in different projects in different roles. I can be project manager in this project and can be a data analyst in other one. However, we noticed that the more we have expertise, the better we gain and achieve our goals, because we know each other's parts and we can mesh as a puzzle. I can clearly see the reports and can ask my data analyst, please, can you remove or add some extra information or metrics, or vice versa. So I consider that this very great opportunity for even from my perspective business, and I would definitely implement it in real life whenever I will want to start this. So in case you have insights or have any questions, I'm ready to answer right now, or any kind of comments. So I will proceed. And let's talk about high-performing groups and their characteristics. I can highlight that very important to have clear goals. We started this topic from this actually because goals are very, very important. Shared vision, when the team knows the values of the result. Open communication, everyone is important, everyone can speak, every voice is listened to, and any idea is valuable and considerable. Trust is always also very, very important thing when you are not afraid. It's exactly that Ahmed was talking about. When you're not afraid, you can do anything. Positive culture, when you can do and proceed everything. Adaptivity. So I have a question, mostly professor to you as well. What would you add additionally? Which characteristics you consider very important? Let's have a conversation.
So, Alina, I will add to what you just said, because then I think it might open up the conversation a little more. Those of you who were in the organizational behavior course last semester, we became a complex organization, Alina, and everyone took on different roles and responsibilities. And I think a big part of what built the trust and the positive culture and the open communication, for example, was we first did we did a rumble where we set norms for our expectations in communications and in the way of work. And so everyone took on different roles and responsibilities and had a very successful, complex organization as a result of it. So those high-performing groups, I think those elements, like you said, of trust, positive culture, open communication came into play in that example, because we built that first. I didn't just start day one with the complex organization. I built up to it so that people could be successful. And I also think that high-performing groups, excuse me, high-performing groups, sometimes it requires you to look at people in different roles than they would normally see themselves in. And that was the case for the way we structured our complex organization as well. People who might not have seen themselves as leaders were able to take on a leadership role and excelled in the situation because of the way that their teammates rallied together around and worked for that common goal. So I would love to hear a little bit more from the rest of the group about high performing groups, specifically, not only from that example, but I think that that's a great commonality that most of us in this course have because we were together. Ahmed?
Yes, Professor. To be honest, that complex exercise that we had, at the beginning, I was feeling very frustrated. Okay, but I can say that my teammates, and especially I give a big thank you to Noran. She helped me to, process it, feel more comfortable about it. Okay, that yes, we had the pressure that we need to show to become better in each time. Okay, we had 3 times as presentation, and each time I was worried, but less worried than the first time. Okay, also there is something I wish it could have happened, or maybe it happened, but I didn't pay attention to it, or I didn't realize it, except later. I thought that our part is bigger, is very big. Okay, like we have to source for the material for our presentation, prepare for the presentation, read and research, and I thought we had the biggest part. But later, I got to know the other team's part. Okay, it's not an easy. Okay, this experience really opened my eyes. Thank you so much for that.
Yes, no, thank you because well, and thank all of you because that's what learning is about. You know, being able to have those kinds of experiences in a safe environment like your course so that you can be more open to integrating elements of it into your workplace as a leader. So thank you. I'm sure everyone had different takeaways from it. And for me, I want you to be able to have experiences that will challenge you so that you know how you'll feel about taking that on in your workplace or in future experiences. And so just like Alita is speaking to the high performing groups, like you all stepped up to the plate at such an amazing way. And it is interesting because there is that like, well, wait a minute, they only have to do this or they only have to do that. And then you realize how much work everyone is putting into the success for that high performance to take place. Thank you. That was a great conversation.
Thank you, Professor. While I am sharing now screen to the video, maybe someone else want to share their idea or their comments. Okay, so I want also to share the video. Second. Another video. I suppose you don't hear now the voice. 1 second. Now you will hear. 1 second.
The highest performing organizations on the planet. And a former Navy SEAL was asked,
can you hear now?
Performing organizations on the planet. And a former Navy SEAL was asked,
yes,
who makes it through BUDS? Who makes it through the selection process to become a SEAL? And he said, I can't tell you who gets through, who makes it, but I can tell you the kind of people who don't make it. He said the star college athletes that never have been really tested to the core of their being, none of them make it through. He said the preening leaders who like to delegate everything, none of them make it through. He said the big tough guys that come in with huge muscles, covered in tattoos, who want to prove to everyone how tough they are, none of them make it through. He said some of the guys that make it through are skinny and scrawny. He said some of the guys who make it through, you will see them shivering out of fear. He said, but every single one of them who makes it through, when they're emotionally exhausted, when they're physically exhausted, some way, somehow, they're able to dig down deep inside themselves to find the energy to help the person next to them. Service. Service. Giving to another, having their back, is what makes the highest performing teams in the world. Not their strength and not their intelligence. It's their willingness to be there for each other.
So, what do you think about this statement, be there for each other? Because for me, first of all, Simon is very encouraging speaker, and all the time I can listen to him a lot of time and watch the videos. So how do you understand this statement, be there for each other? Do you have any kind of this?
I do think that Ahmed gave a good example of that when he spoke to Noran's role when they were in the complex organization and how she helped him, right? She didn't have to. She didn't have to take from herself to help him, but she did. And it was a way for her to support his success and inadvertently helped her success.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Indeed, indeed. Being there for each other, it gives you the sense of responsibility and also the sense of, I can take a breath. I feel safe because my teammates is with me, around me. They will support me. Okay, and the responsibility that I will do the same for them. I cannot. If someone fail, we all fail.
This
Yes.
is yes, I agree. This is the idea of working in groups and working together.
Yes, can I just remember the Friends movie? Does anybody see it when they just soundtrack? I'll be there for you. It's something about yes, and because you will be there for me, and it's about support. It's about relationship, and it's about anyway even friendship. It's teamwork.
By the way, thank you, Lazat, regarding this example. I fully agree because when I watched this, when I was a child, it was to me, I understood it from absolutely one angle. But when I became more matured and looked at it, I saw absolutely different. It is absolutely serious. I would say movie, but movie serial. It's very serious and very serious topics. So thank you very much for that. Let's proceed. Can you see now my screen?
Yes.
Great. So let's talk about positive and very negative group roles. Basically, whenever we want or whenever we don't want, we have both sides. We have positive and negative group roles within teamwork. What can we say about positive ones? That can be encourager, the person who motivates teammates, creating a positive and collaborative atmosphere. Clarifier, that's someone who helps to clarify and simplify complex ideas. Idea generator. Idea generator, that is that who helps to create, who mostly creates and generates the idea. Ignition key, it's metaphorically mostly. This is a person who initiates to create the process. And detail specialist. This is mostly the person who is up to details, who wants to have everything to be under control, and mostly it's about their quality control. So this is actually very, very a positive part, and let's talk about the negative ones. Ego trigger, that is mostly the person who has strong ego, but he uses it against the group teams. Negative artists, this is very interesting naming, but it means that this person can resist new ideas, and the process can be eliminated. The aggressor, mostly this is a very forceful person who influences others and in an aggressive way. Power victim, this is about considering that you have, because if you have less power, you're less successful to the team, and you have negative attention to this. And in my mind, one of the most dangerous one, this is avoider, because whenever this one examples, they have some annotations here, this person mostly avoid any kind of conflict and any kind of difficulties. And in my mind, it's one of these negative roles. So for a small interaction, I offer us now to 1 second. I offer to make a poll and to discuss about their positive, mostly about the positive roles. So I'm doing this in this poll in our, exactly in our teams. I stop sharing. The question will be, in your opinion, what is the most crucial positive role to the group's success? I will type it. So, can you see? Can you see it? 1 second, it's downloaded. So I've made in the chat box the poll, and I will repeat. In your opinion, what is the most crucial positive role to a group success? I can remind that what we have mentioned before: encourager, clarifier, idea generator, ignition key, detail specialist. So waiting for your replies. Oh, we can see one response, encourager. Yes. Let's move on. Second reply, detail specialist. I suppose that it can be someone who work in IT or with some engineering parts. So
that was HR.
Clear communication, decision maker. So who else? We can, because we have only 7 responses yet. Great. Yes, we have more. We have 3 encouragers. So encourager is the leader. Actually, I would agree, because I would also vote for the encourager. I consider myself mostly encourager comparing to others. Do anyone want to share their idea, or want to comment this or tell and say who voted for exactly their role? Who can share their feedback?
I voted for the detail specialist.
Oh.
Okay, it's purely HR. You know, we care about the documentation, the process, who signs what. Okay, maybe I'm not saying it is correct. Okay, it is necessary to have everything done correct so we can avoid any issues in the future. It is kind of boring, but for me, I don't see it boring. Okay, clarifying the details, putting the plan, and simplify it as much as it can be. Okay, for me, I encourage simplifying. Okay, some others, no, it has to be done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps. Then it has to be done like this.
Yes, thank you very much, because like we told beforehand and we're speaking that it's very important to have different roles in the team, and the more different people are gathered, the better they achieve results due to their communication. So thank you very much. I will proceed with the presentation, and let's move on. And actually, here, I would like to share the video as well, the last one. And before I will share it, I want to say that for me it was a very important one, because I'm from hospitality industry. I used to work in hospitality for a long time, and absolutely this video reflects their I would say the great results and building great teams towards one attitude. So let
They
me
put me up at the Four
understand
Seasons out
whether you
there,
hear.
which is a beautiful hotel. And one of the reasons it's a
Can you hear his
Yes.
voice?
Yes, we
Oh,
can.
thank you. I will start. Thank
they
you.
put me up at the Four Seasons out there, which is a beautiful hotel. And one of the reasons it's a wonderful hotel is not because of the fancy beds. Any hotel can buy a fancy bed. The reason the Four Seasons is a fantastic hotel is because of the people who work there. That when you roam the halls and somebody says hello, you get the distinct feeling that they wanted to say hello, not that they were told to say hello. We're highly tuned social animals. We can tell the difference. It's like we can always tell when someone's working on commission, right? You can kind of feel it, right? We can tell the difference when somebody's genuinely being friendly or not. They happen to have a coffee bar in the lobby there at the Four Seasons in Las Vegas, and one afternoon I went and bought myself a cup of coffee. And there was a barista working that day named Noah. Noah was funny and engaging, charming. I spent far too long standing there buying my cup of coffee because I just so enjoyed talking to Noah. So, as is my nature, I asked Noah a question. I said, "Do you like your job?" And without skipping a beat, Noah said, "I love my job." Now, in my line of business, that's significant because like is rational. I like the people I work with, I like the job, I like the challenge, I get paid well, I like my job. Love is emotional. It's a higher order connection. Do you love your wife? I like her a lot, right? There's a difference.
Il était une fois une idée,
Sorry,
portée par deux hommes et
we
une femme.
have a
Leur
French
ambition,
advertisement.
construire un projet d'entreprise
Second.
avec des...
Noah said, "I love my job." My ears perked up. He has an emotional connection to this company. This is interesting. So I immediately follow up and I said, "Tell me specifically what the Four Seasons is doing that you would say to me you love your job." Without skipping a beat, Noah said that throughout the day, managers will walk past him and ask him how he's doing, ask him if there's anything that he needs to do his job better. Not just his manager, any manager. And then he also said, "I also work at Caesar's Palace. And there, the managers walk past us and catch us when we're doing things wrong and make sure that we're making the numbers and performing. And there, I like to just keep my head below the radar and get through the day and collect my paycheck." He said, "Only at the Four Seasons do I feel I can be myself." This is the exact same human being. And yet the customer service experience that we would have meeting him at one hotel or the other will be profoundly different, not because of the person, but because of the leaders, because of the leadership environment in which he's been asked to work. I get this question all the time. "Simon, how do we get the most out of our people?" They're not a towel. We don't wring them out to see how much we can get out of our people. It's a flawed question, which means we're going to get flawed answers. The correct question is, how do we create an environment in which our people can work at their natural best? And the answers will be profoundly different. If you do not have trusting teams, what you do have is a group of people who show up to work every single day lying, hiding, and faking. Remember, a trusting team is when people feel safe. It's a trusting team is when people feel they can be vulnerable amongst their own. They can raise their hand and say, I made a mistake. Or you promoted me to a position where I don't really know what to do. I think I need more training. Or I'm having troubles at home and it's affecting my work. Or I'm scared. Or I need help. Without any fear of humiliation, without any fear of retribution. In fact, they say these things with confidence that their leader, their boss, their colleagues will rush to them to support them. If you do not have trusting teams, what you have is a group of people who show up to work every day who will hide mistakes for fear of getting in trouble. They will not admit that you promoted them to a position and they actually have no clue what they're doing. They're going to just keep faking it. They would never tell you that they're suffering undue stress because of something that's happening at home and that it's affecting their work. They're not going to tell you that they're scared, and they're definitely not going to ask for help for fear that they'll find themselves on some short list for the next round of redundancies. And eventually, cracks will show up, and eventually the organization will break. Not because of the people, but because of the leaders leading those people. We know what this looks like in the extreme. I'm sure you all remember a couple of years ago, United Airlines had an incident where they dragged a paying customer off their aircraft with a broken nose, broken teeth, and a concussion. I feel sorry for every single member of that crew because 100% of them knew that that was the wrong thing to do, but none of them spoke up. None of them intervened because they feared getting in trouble more than doing the right thing. They did not work on trusting teams. This was not an anomaly. This was a steady build over the course of years that eventually culminated in an event like that. I was witness to a scene that played out years before with United Airlines that gave a flag that something was wrong. A scene played out in front of me as I was preparing to board a plane where one of the passengers attempted to board the aircraft before their group number was called, which, as you all know, is a serious crime. And that is exactly how the gate agent treated this passenger. Step aside, sir. I haven't called your group yet. Please step aside and wait till I call your group, is how she talked to a paying customer. And so I spoke up. I said, why do you have to talk to us that way? Why can't you talk to us like we're human beings? And she looked me in the eye and said, sir, if I don't follow the rules, I could get in trouble or lose my job. What she revealed to me is that she does not feel safe in her own organization. Her leaders do not trust her to do the job for which she's been trained to do. And guess who suffers? Company, customer, and her. The reason we love flying Virgin Atlantic, for example, is not because they have some magical formula to hire all the best people. It's because the people who work there feel safe in their own jobs. They feel trusted to do the job for which they've been trained to do. And guess who benefits? Customer, company, and the people who work there. It is a leader's responsibility to set an environment. Leadership is not about being in charge. Leadership is about taking care of those in your charge. Leaders are not responsible for the results. They're responsible for the people who are responsible for the results. And if you get the environment right, you get people like Noah. If you get the environment wrong, you get people like Noah. It's not the people, it's the leaders. Almost always when there are performance issues, almost always when there are customer service issues, it's so rarely the people. Yes, we have anomalies, of course. But if on balance, you find that there's issues, it's almost always the leadership and the leadership environment, and usually it's the lack of trusting teams. The job of leadership is to create trusting teams, and if you want to play in the infinite game, you must have trusting teams. One of the worst things about trusting teams is how you build them, because they're not traditional in the sense that we set a target, we're going to build our teams of trust, and we set out to build them. It's more of a practice. It's like getting into shape. It's like going to the gym. Yes, you want to get into shape. Unfortunately, you can't go to the gym for 9 hours and get into shape. It won't work. But if you commit yourself to go to the gym every single day for 20 minutes, 100% you'll get into shape. Simon, how long is it going to take me to get into shape? I don't know. And that's the problem. Some will respond quickly and some will respond slowly, and there is no formula, but we all 100% know that the process works. We 100% know that if you work out every single day for 20 minutes and eat healthily, 100% of us will get into shape. It's the same in leadership. There's no 5 magical things that I can tell you to do. There's no one-day course you can go take or one offsite you can have with your team and all of a sudden they become trusting teams. Yes, those things are important, but they're part of a process that we trust in. That process is called leadership. Leadership is a lifestyle. And even when you achieve your goal, even when you get into shape, even when the trusting teams are built, unfortunately, you have to keep going to the gym for the rest of your life. It's a lifestyle. Leadership is a lifestyle. And the purpose of that lifestyle is to produce teams who take care of each other, who love each other, and feel valued and valuable in the organization where they work. That is your job.
So, can anyone share their feedback of their ideas of this video and outcome of it? Like, from my perspective, I can say that, as I told beforehand, definitely I have chosen it because I completely agree with every word, because I used to work in hospitality. I know what it means. I know the value of being listened to, value of a trusted team, and the atmosphere of exactly hotels. It's not about the beds and about the entity. It's about their team and the team collaboration and the atmosphere and the vibe of the hotel. So, from my part, if you don't have another questions, I can share the mic to Ahmed, and thank you very much for the attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Alina.
Thank you,
Hi,
Lina.
Olena. Olena, I have only two comments on what you have explained. It was perfect, and I just didn't want to interrupt at the middle, but about the exercise for complex organization, and we did that Professor Annie and Ahmed talked about, and the part where you did the vote, and how we can have a high performing group. Actually, lately in my job, I noticed something in high performing groups or organization, that we are missing the decision maker. I just wrote it in the vote, but I know it is not obvious, or it is not the main role, but sometimes you can have all the successful factors in your organization or group, like the encourager or the hard worker or the intelligent. But by the end, there is no decision maker to make your work successful. And I'm experiencing that in my current job nowadays, because actually there is a very high performing team, but whenever there is no decision maker to take the right decision, he just make all the work go in vain without a good result. So this was my only comment, and thank you, Ahmed and Olena, for the great presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Naran. Thank you a lot. I can comment that I fully agree with you, because when I did this presentation, I thought about it. The only one thing why I didn't add it, it's from my perspective, that I consider that definitely in the group, it should be a person who is more about the decision making. However, in my mind, all of them have to be leaders from their perspective and have to be capable to agree. So this is like my idea of that, and perhaps I fully agree with you that it's very difficult to not to have a person who like make the final consideration and agree, and all of them and others just only does their parts. So definitely very valuable comments. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Elena. Thank you, Noran. That was inspiring, really. I love Simon Sinek. And although we have finished our presentations, I'm asking Professor, do we have a time for a small video, 5 minutes?
Absolutely. Yes, we do. And while you're getting that video ready, I do want to leave add a thought is as a leader, there will be times when you will be incongruent. And what I mean by that is there will be times where you're doing the best you can and you have to own your mistakes or you have to own your incongruencies in order to keep that trust and encouragement and decision making moving forward. So an example that I wanted to share, my son is in hospitality and his operator made a policy that everyone now needs to pay a quarter for a cup if they're going to drink anything at work because they were wasting the cups. And I don't even want to get into the policy, but this was his decision and this is what he decided. And so my son, who is a director of a division in the restaurant, had an employee who forgot his cup and forgot a quarter. And so my son said, "It's okay. I'll pay for your cup for you. Like, it's a quarter. Like, it's more important to me that you are comfortable while you're working and that you have fluids." And so the operator found out that my son paid for the cup for his employee and actually called him into the office, and it escalated to this huge disagreement. And my son said, "I will respect you as my leader, but I need you to understand that for me as a leader of Jose, the individual that needed the cup, it was more important for me that he know that his well-being matters. So I will, whatever repercussions you would like me to take, I will take them. I will own them. I would not make a different decision." And so it was a matter of maybe a month later, in conversation with the operator, my son came to learn that, the operator apologized for that experience and in reflection realized that yes, the well-being of the employee was more important than the 25 cents for the cup. And that he was trying to put structures into place that were not as important as the people that were working for him. So it's nice that the operator had a learning experience from it and my son had a learning experience from it. But there will be incongruencies. That operator was doing the best he could. He was trying to put a policy in place that he thought was the decision to be made, right? But what it did was undermine the trust and the care and the relationships that were formed amongst his leaders and his employees, and really caused them to step back and lose a little bit of respect, if you will, for him. So what I appreciate about the scenario is that he recognized that his people have more value than a cup. And that seems kind of absurd to say out loud, right? But in that, when like Simon said, when you are crunching the numbers and looking at the data, and that's your decision factor only, and not the human side of the work that we do, it's easy to make a decision that when you then step back and look at how it's impacting the people, you can learn that it wasn't the best decision overall. So just know for yourselves as leaders, you're going to come into scenarios where you're doing the best that you can. What's going to be important is that you're always learning and modeling for those who you lead your humanity in how you're trying to be the best leader you can. So I just wanted to share that scenario with you all.
Well, Professor, I can say that you raised a great man and a great leader.
Thank you.
Thank you. But as a comment also, the operator in this situation, I can give him a credit that he listened. He listened, he understood, he took action. Okay. Although the first action was wrong, okay, but he listened to others, okay. Others mean your son, okay. He listened to the idea. He was able to understand or to grasp the idea of that people matters more than processes, more than materials, more than money. Basically, the people are the most important resource. Okay, so I emphasize again on actively listened, because we already finished our presentation, but as I said, we will just take 5 more minutes. I will take 5 more minutes to share a small video, and our star here is Simon Sinek, of course, on active listening. So 1 second. You see, it's an orange screen so far.
Not yet.
No.
Yet. It's just a, oh, there you go.
Okay.
So listening is not the act of hearing the words spoken. It is the art of understanding the meaning behind those words. You know, when people say you're not listening to me and we simply parrot back the words that they were said, congratulations, your ears work. You know, that is the act of listening. But the art of listening is creating an environment in which the other person feels heard. Now, you notice what I said there. The other person, and I used an emotional word, feels, right? I don't want to know that you heard the words. I want to feel heard. I want to feel seen. I want to feel understood. And that is a learnable, practicable skill. So it's there are many parts of it. It's things like replacing judgment with curiosity, right? That's a hard thing to do. We're a pretty judgy group, right? To be curious why someone has a point of view. It's creating a safe space for someone to, as my friend Dia Khan calls it, empty the bucket. So even if we find what they're saying just reprehensible, right? You're never going to be able to actually have dialogue until at least one of the parties gets the opportunity to say everything without judgment. And as she calls it, emptying the bucket. And once somebody feels like they've completely said everything, then they're more apt to listen to you. But usually what we do is we defend, or we litigate, or we interrupt, flaws in logic, which is just frustrating. And when you point out some flaws in somebody's logic, because we're all imperfect when we speak, and we all choose the wrong words at various times. And that's not what I meant. You know what I meant. This is what we have to say. Well, what if you know what you meant? Then why don't you say what you can see how this spirals. But it's things like when somebody says something, you know, and there's really easy ways to do it. Things like, go on, tell me more. What else? And they keep talking. And you go quiet, they feel the space. And tell me more. Go on. And eventually, it's all out. And then there's a safe space for you to respond or and express yourself in a constructive way. But that's correct. We do not teach listening, and listening is the way to create to build trust with someone. You know, you make someone feel heard, they'll trust you. You know, it is the way to find common ground in opposition, in simple cases in business, but in more complicated cases in national politics or in global politics or in war. You know, why do William Ury, who wrote Getting to Yes, he talks about the same thing. He goes, we have talk shows, but we don't have listen shows. He says we have peace talks, but what we really need is peace listens. You know, and he who's been at the table at the highest levels of peace negotiations, he said people show up and start demanding what they want, and that's how the negotiations begin. Nobody starts by saying, so tell me why you came here. There's a great documentary that I recommend to learn this. It's called White Right, Meeting the Enemy by Dia Khan. In a nutshell, Dia is a Muslim woman living in the UK who was trolled by white supremacists to the point where the police got involved because her life was at risk. They told her stay away from open windows. That's how bad it got. The way Dia responded was by moving to the United States and going to meet the white supremacists. And she brought her cameras. I mean, you can see it all happen in this documentary. And basically, she gave them a safe to feel heard. Now, that sounds mad. Like, why should she give them a safe space to feel heard? They should give her a safe space. Yeah, fine, good. You know, like, it's never going to happen. Dia sits down with these white supremacists, and she gives them a safe space to feel heard. It's extreme listening. And I say it's extreme because, I mean, they hate her, you know? They don't just disagree with her. They want her off the planet. And she lets them empty their bucket, as she calls it. And then conversation begins. And because they feel heard, they start to trust her. And as they start to trust her, she becomes a friend. And then it creates this paradox where I'm supposed to hate this woman, but I trust her and consider her a friend. And what you see is one by one, these white supremacists, these diehard white supremacists, start dropping out of the movement because they can no longer reconcile their beliefs with reality. And if it can happen in this extreme environment, then it can happen anywhere. And all that is required for us to cross political divides or, you know, disagreements at work and things like that is one of the parties has to learn how to listen. It doesn't even require both parties to learn the skill. That's the amazing thing. It is one of the most remarkable skills that anyone can learn. The power of listening. Yeah. So the documentary is a great extreme example of what it can do.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for listening. Thank you for participating. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Okay, we finished our part. We finished our lecture today. Please feel free to submit your feedback. And back to you, Professor. Thank you for giving us the opportunity.
Oh, thank you. Beautiful job. Beautiful job. What I love about that clip is that we quite often, you know, old school management classes, we trained people to listen for a response, meaning have your response or your reply prepared for when the person stops speaking. And what we learned from that is that we really aren't listening if that's the way that we're engaging in conversation, because we're missing the heart of what's being said. So in conflict resolution, one of the most important things is for each party to feel heard. And in order to do that, it's those language frames that Simon used. Say more. Is there more you would like to say about that? Go on. And being okay in the silence so that if there's more, people can feel completely heard. And that really is key for active listening. So thank you, Ahmed. That's a fantastic clip of his. We could do an entire Simon Sinek course for sure. He has so many incredible compliments to being a strong leader. I wanted to share with you all, I'm going to share my screen just to wrap up.
Professor,
Yes.
thank you for participating, even though your voice sound you are sick, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
I know. I can't, I'm always to practice what I preach. And unless, if I'm very, very, very ill and cannot participate, I would not have had class today, because to me, that's dishonoring of the work that you and Olina did. But I knew that I would get energy from the work that you guys were going to bring to us today. And then I also knew that I was at a point where hopefully I'm coming out of the worst of it. So thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Usually in most of Arab countries, we say if we see someone sick, okay,
Yes.
the first thing we tell them before even we wish them get well soon, okay, stay away from the kids. So
Yes.
stay away from the kids
Yes. Well,
and get well soon.
and actually, I think that I am sick because I was with the kids. So you know how they always say children, the beginning of life, they build up their immune system and then they get stronger, and when they go to school they start to get sick, and then they don't get sick anymore because they've built up a stronger immune system. Well, I feel like I'm at a disadvantage because I'm at the schools a lot now for my grandchildren, and I don't have the immune system built up to be there. So it will be okay though. All is well. Next week, we're taking a break from our team leading, and we're going to step into our solo project reveals. And I'm really excited about this. I want to share with you what it's going to look like. It'll be these next 3 weeks, the 6th, the 13th, and the 20th of March. Can't believe we're already in the month of March. And the way that it's going to work is that for all fairness, you're not assigned to a specific day. I actually have a wheel of fate, if you will. It's an electronic wheel that has all of your names on it, and it will select who is going to be our first person, our second person, our third person, and so on. So by Sunday night, your assignment is to have your visual uploaded. But on Monday next week, if you are selected, you will take about 15 to 20 minutes. It's not, please don't time it out. It's really just enough time for you to give us the essence of your learning from your interviews. So you're going to share the focus topic that you selected. So if it was conflict resolution or multi-generations in the workplace, leading multi-generations, and you're going to incorporate the leaders that you interviewed and why. So you don't have to give us this, like, you don't have to read what you've given me so far, where it's like this person's name and this is where they work. Just like, why did you call upon those leaders to learn about this topic? It can be as simple as that. And then you're going to share your visual and speak to your learning that occurred throughout these past several weeks. We've all been on the same journey in many ways, but with very different takeaways. And it's been exciting to see the similarities and differences of how you have approached the assignment. And then you can ask for feedback from your peers. It can be a scale of 1 to 5 in the chat box. It can be a Likert scale. It can be an open text response. You could ask a question and they can type something right there in the chat box. You don't have to make it difficult. You can make a survey if you want to. You can do it in a separate form and bring it in. You can use the poll feature from the platform. It's not intended for it to be more work for you. It's intended to give you some affirmations and considerations based off of the lens that you're sharing your learning through and how we all are experiencing that learning. Okay, so this is going to be the remaining 25 points for the assignment. It's a 50-point assignment total. You've already done 25 of the 50 points, and this will be the 25 remaining for that. Any questions?
Professor, I have a question.
Yes.
Yes. For this means that it will be random for the next 3 weeks. So we will have to be prepared by next Monday, all of us, as if we are presenting, and it will be random selection whom will be the 7 or 6 persons whom are going to present, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, correct. Okay. And the reason why that's random is because there seems to be a lot of people in the course that are at work while we are doing the course, and a lot of people that have many different things, not just being at work, but many different conflicts. And I just think it's a fair way to approach it. And it's a good way to ensure that we're all prepared. One thing to note is that when I do things like that, like a random selection for an assignment, it really is in a thoughtful way to ensure that I am giving you exposure and experiences to different leadership styles. And you may or may not like it, but it also will allow you in a safe environment to try out some different things and have some different experiences. So that's why we're taking the break in the middle. We could have waited until we were done with all of our team leading projects, but I thought it was a good time frame for us to get a little bit of a break in the middle of those team leadings and get another experience. Any other questions? Okay. I think we're going to go ahead and end the session. And I'm sorry if I'm not completely coherent today. I'll probably laugh when I listen to the recording later on, but thank you for hanging in there with us. A big round of applause for Ahmed and Olina today for taking on leading this session and their organization and creative approach to that. Have a great evening, remainder to whatever your day looks like, everyone.
Thank you, Professor. Get well soon.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Bye, everybody. See you next week.
Thank you, Professor. Take care yourself.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Professor.